Tonight, as President-elect Donald Trump is preparing for a widespread immigration crackdown when he takes office 25 days from now, we're seeing a crack between some of his top advisors and his MAGA base. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are both facing major blowback from their own supporters for not only backing, but encouraging offering more visas to highly skilled foreign workers.
Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of Common Sense View. Vivek and Elon Musk has set up a firestorm among the MAGA base. But the question is it really a crack or a made-up fantasy of the left to create a crack? I don't see any crack and I don't see any indication that there's going to be one. What I see is a triumphant recovery from those who were beaten down by losing an election. They overspent the opponent almost 3 times. Now they are grappling on anything that will give them relevance, and that is why they're trying to whatever they can. First they called Elon president and Trump VP. It didn't work, but somehow Vivek handed them a goodies that they literally forgot themselves. They forgot themselves. They created a crack and they're trying to fan it into a real thing. Yeah, I know that the comment Vivek made or the post he made, he would have posted something a little bit more moderated. If I were the one advising him, I wouldn't allow him to put something like that, having been in the political square for quite a while. But Vivek is Vivek, and I believe in my heart that he doesn't have any bad intention to look down on any person or to play this holier than thou attitude that the people in the left usually play up. On the contrary, he raised a legitimate issue that the standard of education is deteriorating and the standard of interest of what should be praised is also going down. Everyone knows it's not only in the US. And as a matter of fact, the visas to bring in high-skilled workers is practical all over the developed world, and some other people in the Western Europe that have not been doing it are practically putting it into perspective, a very serious perspective at the moment, which makes it something to think about if you don't want to adopt it, because no country can provide all the talents needed to succeed. China has a way they do theirs. You come to make something in their country, they get a part of it, but no other country has the possibility of mass scale production that reduces costs as China does, and no other country can do it the way they do it, whether ethical or not. It's not. But even Trump himself has showed his willingness to allow people who got their degrees, bachelor or masters or even doctorate in the A universities in the country, to be able to have their green card at the same time. What is the idea? The idea is that if these people were able to get their degrees, their qualification in the A universities, that means they have what it takes to be on top of the food chain, to be on top of the manufacturing and the production chain. They should not be allowed to leave the country, to go to the country of the birth, to use the experience they gathered in that A university to put over there. It's almost something synonymous with what Vivek was framing, only that he framed it in the wrong way. Elon Musk welled in, and it didn't go so well. By the way, let's hear how Trump put it while accepting such a proposal. Of course, not exactly what Vivek said.
What I want to do and what I will do is you graduate from a college, I think you should get automatically as part of your diploma a green card to be able to stay in this country. And that includes junior colleges too. Anybody graduates from a college, you go in there for 2 years or 4 years. If you graduate or you get a doctorate degree from a college, you should be able to stay in this country.
Who will say that doesn't make sense? Who will say that? Who will say that what Trump said doesn't make sense? Of course, no person that has reasoning will say that this doesn't make sense. After all, you gave them the education. Everyone knows that it's making sense, and everyone who has rationality will understand the fact that you have trained these people with the quality you have, with your own facility, with your own resources, for them to leave with all the knowledge they had when they have opportunity to stay and make your own country better. It doesn't make any sense. So that is why what Trump was suggesting makes a very reasonable sense. I know that the H-1B visa, of course, there's no other visa that cannot be abused, just as there's no other government policy that cannot be abused. But saying that it should be wiped out without having a replacement that will be bringing top 0.1% of the best to any country, it doesn't look like the person who is suggesting that is thinking about the future of the country. Now, the CNN crew have their own mindset, and good thing, what the Democrats there, who has always been a staunch opposer of whatever that is Republican, was in line this time, even though she still managed to find a way to throw a jab at Trump by making a point of what his former administration was and not what he said just recently. So let's see what they are talking about.
And you have covered this issue for a long time. Can you just lay out what we're looking at here in this divide between what Elon Musk says he thinks would be the best for the United States and why we are seeing something that we have not seen, frankly, almost at all lately, which is a lot of people in the MAGA universe outright disagreeing with him, arguing with him, and breaking with him online?
By the way, before she answered, look at it. What they have not seen before, that a lot of MAGA people disagreeing with Elon and Vivek. The point is that they don't understand that no single MAGA person believes every single thing Trump does 100%. They are okay with 60-70%. Yeah, sometimes others get 90%. But none, you can hardly get any MAGA person that is 100% Trump, whether he dies or he lives. No. And that is the difference the right has from the left. The left, if you disagree with them 5%, you are done. But the right, if you agree with them only 5%, you are welcome. So let's see what she has to say.
So Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy in this particular case, I think, are exactly right. America's ability to attract talent from around the world is basically our economic superpower. The fact that, in particular, we've been able to attract high-skilled immigrants quite reliably in this country over the past century or so is why we have this enduring leadership in science, tech, and business. So just as an example, by immigrants or the children of immigrants, and of the Nobel laureates, American Nobel laureates who have received prizes for the hard sciences this century, about 40% of them are immigrants who came to this country. So again, this is our superpower, and I'm very glad that Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, I very much hope that they are able to influence Donald Trump on this particular issue, but I'm doubtful about it because, just as you mentioned, in his first term, Trump was actually quite hostile to legal immigrants, in particular, by the way, high-skilled legal.
So you see, the point is that even though she has said all of these amazing things, they will always find a way to throw it to Trump's former administration. That is 2016 to 2020. Yeah, they must always find the reason why it will not work because of Trump, without acknowledging that most of the things that work and anything that will work because of Trump. As Kellyanne Conway usually says, you cannot get Trump's policy without Trump. Trump is Trump policy. Nobody can execute Trump's policy more than Trump. And the fact that after saying such amazing thing in support of these people who have been facing firestorm, she manages to squeeze a jab for Trump, says it all. But in any case, when somebody does something that deserves some credit, you give her. She deserves some credit at this particular moment. So going forward, it's not only her, and I think we have to also to see what the Republican pundit has to say in regard to the discussion.
Yeah, Stephen Miller's getting a huge job in the West Wing. He's been around Trump for the 4 years he was out of office. And sure, Michael, as the Republican here, I wonder what your view on this is, because this is happening within the Republican Party. I mean, these are two top advisors to Trump, the MAGA world, who you know, are kind of framing this as the true believers, who say, you know, we asked for stricter immigration policies. That didn't mean coming with a carve-out for high-skilled workers that they say are taking American jobs here.
Yeah, look, I think with all due respect to Mr. Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, they should focus on saving federal dollars for the taxpayers and not immigration policy. I understand some of the points that Catherine made, and I agree to an extent. But I think the U.S. should focus more on domestic skill development. Studies also show that H-1B1 exacerbates employers hiring individuals from outside of the country.
So you see the point he made. They should concentrate on saving the dollar for the country, which is actually a reasonable statement. Yeah, of course, I disagree with him in absolutely not having a say. But as a matter of fact, those two were not in the position they are to say what becomes the policy of the country or policy of Trump's administration or not. They are there for a specific reason, well-targeted and streamlined reason of cutting costs and nothing more. So anybody quoting them as a set of people who are a core of Trump's cabinet that are now facing crisis is missing the point. They are not. As a matter of fact, these same people are the people who are accusing them of not having a portfolio. Now they have managed to put that portfolio, a kangaroo portfolio for them, so that they will have something to criticize about Trump's cabinet. So the Republican has a point here. So let's just follow up and see what he is saying on it.
Catherine, you have covered this issue for
dollars for the taxpayers and not immigration policy. I understand some of the points that Catherine made, and I agree to an extent, but I think the U.S. should focus more on domestic skill development. Studies also show that H-1B1 exacerbates employers hiring individuals from outside of the country when they could potentially hire minorities, for example, which we know there's a shortage in the STEM fields. There are a significant number of Americans who I think would love opportunities if they had the proper training and skills to operate in those jobs fairly well. So why not start and focus there? I'm not of the support or mindset, Caitlin, that we should let in more than the 60,000+ that were already let into the country. Do we have some deficits? I certainly understand that point, again, to what Catherine was sort of alluding to. But I think by focusing on increasing domestic skill development, you can decrease the furtherance of those deficits by virtue of saying, you know what, we're going to spend more of our time, more of our dollars educating our own citizens to compete for these jobs versus saying, let's increase to 100,000 or maybe even more for employers to bring in individuals from India, which is a predominant country where many of them come from.
So you see his point. He doesn't want more people to come when they have a chance of training those who potentially can fill those jobs in any capacity, because I believe that if you can train somebody to be an assistant engineer, the possibility of training him to be a lead engineer is just a little effort and his own discipline. So I understand his point. Both of them are making two legitimate points, but still, in nation building, it's just like a football team, a sports team. If you have a possibility of buying somebody from your neighborhood who will help you to win the trophy, you cannot say you will not do it. Definitely, you are going to go for it, because at the end of the day, what matters is the success that comes at the end. And yet, that person's knowledge has a potential of influencing the knowledge and the knowledge base of people around from the localities. But the special perspective I wanted to listen before I cut this short is the perspective of Charlie Cake and those he was in his panel. They saw it as an opportunistic moment for them, because they want to create a crack where there is none and exacerbate it, claiming that there is already a crack, whereas there is none. So let's listen to them.
So Jack, for the audience that was enjoying their loved ones, not staring at Twitter all day long, what happened? Did we experience MAGA Chernobyl?
A MAGA dust-up, but MAGA Chernobyl is ridiculous. That sounds like something that some George Soros operative would want to put out into the ether to try to give the Democrats some glimmer of hope that this country is possibly interested in coming back towards them again. Newsflash. No, there was no MAGA Chernobyl, and no, the country is totally over all the wokerati and the wokeness that got us into the situation that we're currently in. But what happened was a probably a predictable and generally, I think, forthcoming argument and debate between members of, shall we say, the tech right and members of the MAGA base as pertains to the level of immigration, particularly, we're talking about legal immigration now, to the United States as pertains, interestingly enough, directly to the tech race.
So a couple things. I need you to educate me on Saved by the Bell, because I Blake, how old are you again?
I am 34 years old, sir.
Okay.
So the point is obvious, and I totally agree with the point he's making. There's nothing there, but because the left don't really create a room for debate and the disagreement, because you either fall in line with them or you are pushed out. They don't see what is happening now as a healthy action. They see it as a crack because they are completely against any opposition whenever they dish out they don't accept debate. It's either you are in or you are pushed out. So that point is really relevant, and I think is what encapsulates what captured exactly the sentiment of the moment. Vivek may have gone a little bit extreme unknowingly on what he was trying to put out there, but the core of the message is the core of the moment was well captured by Elon's post, that they are talking about the 0.1% of that, like the elite of the intelligent world who can come and help in the nation building. So if you have any other perspective, or if you see what Vivek said in a more negative way or maybe positive way, can you just help communicate it in the chat part? Let's see your perspective and also debate more about it. What do you think about the H-1B visa generally and the abuses of it? If there's any way it can be remedied or something new and better be put forward rather than what you have already. Also, if you think that Vivek should retract it or let it be there, let the debate go on, and then you put it, let's see what you had. Overall, if you like what you heard, please subscribe, share, and comment. Until we meet again, remain blessed.